Seriously?
Hey guys, and welcome to this Kitbash showcase video with myself, 6 Plus Stevo. In this one, we're taking a look at these gits. These are my recently kitbashed Feral Orks. Been working on these gits for a little while. Been keen to add them into the tribe for a while, and got a little bit to say about these. I don't know where we should start. Possibly start with taking a look at the miniatures first. Let's do that. And I think the best thing to do is probably look at these gits one at a time. So here we are with the first git. This is the what's he called again? Trying to remember now. He is the Savage Orruk Big Boss from Age of Sigmar. And I think he predates that. I think he actually harks back to fantasy because he came on a square base actually. So this git I bought separately from the rest. As you could probably tell already, the rest of them are based on the Savage Orruks from Age of Sigmar. An awesome box set, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But I really wanted the knob of this mob just to stand out and stand head and shoulders above the rest of them. Now you do get sort of parts in there to sort of turn one of these guys into like the leader. It's sort of in a similar fashion to you do to the old 40k Ork box. The one where you get 11 in and you can sort of turn one of them into a knob, but he's not really a knob, he's kind of like a runty knob. I really wanted to just add something bigger and better to this unit. So I went for this guy. And he's awesome, he's cool, really dynamic pose, really savage, really brutal. He fits the theme of a feral orc perfectly. As you can see, I've done very little to him. I've literally just trimmed around his base to get him on a round base, and attached a slugger on his back, which I attached. This strapping you see here is actually dental floss. Because I'll be honest with you, I couldn't be asked to piss about with green stuff just for a bit of strapping. And I found that dental floss, because it's sort of plasticky, and you can buy it for next to nothing. You get 50 meters of it in like a roll, and I can just put a bit of super glue on, wrap it round, a little bit more super glue over the top to sort of seal it, and there you go. It works really cool, and then it looks like it's properly attached. I probably will add just like a little knot on there or something, maybe, possibly, but that is literally all I've done. I did have ideas about sort of 40k'ing him up a bit more, and I was going to chop up his big chopper there, and put like bits from the beast snagger sprue, some sort of whirring blades and things. But to be honest with you, this axe is really, really impressive. I really like it. It fits the Feral Ork theme, and I think he's quite happy with that. He's quite content with that weapon. He's going to lop off some heads with that, and I think it's really cool. And yeah, I really, really like him, and I didn't really need to do much. There you go. Not really much of a kit bash there, but he makes a great leader. So let's take a look at the rest of the gits. So we're just going to look at these. Most of these have had very little done to them. The way this kit comes is you sort of, the arms come without hands attached, and then you just pick the hands from the kit that you want on there. So all I've really had to do to the vast majority of these is chop a hand off a slugger chopper boy. I've got loads of arms and bits left in my bits box, so I had loads of spare extra arms lying about, and yeah, it's been really easy just to chop them off and attach them to these arms. And for the majority of these boys, that's all I've done. I haven't needed to do anything else. So you can see this guy here, he's pretty cool, running pose and that. He looks absolute badass. So that's him done. We've got we've got another one here. This guy with the bone in his gob, holding the slugger aloft. Now, most of the sluggers, this is from, I believe, the New Boys kit, or it might be the Beast Snaggers. So these sluggers all came from a combination of the old school boys kit, Black Reach boys or Beast Snagger boys for the most part. I really like this guy with the jaw plate. I think the jaw plate came from, I think it's the jaw plate from the Death Killer Wartrike. I'm not 100% on that, because it was just in my bits box. I'm like, I can't remember where this thing come from. It's different from all the other jaw plates, but I think because the head from that guy, the Death Killer Wartrike boss, it's got like this tiny little pea head. It actually fits on a boy's head perfectly. But yeah, I like the pose of this guy. I think he looks mean as hell. He looks hench. And then we got this dude here who's got an amazing pose. What's the movie that comes to mind? Apocalypse Now. Yeah, he's got that sort of screaming at the sky approach. Just awesome. Praise to Gork and Mork. And he's definitely got a new slugger there. Either boys or beast snaggers, I don't know. I've got to say, the sluggers that you get in the beast snaggers and the new boys sprue are absolutely awesome. Just a shame that the new boys sprue is kind of shit. But it does have some really cool parts in there. I've sort of robbed and made most of the kit kind of useless. But yeah, absolutely love this guy. I think he did have he had a top knot originally, and I chopped it off. The reason I did that is because I've used a few different heads, but most of the heads on these boys come from the Savage Orruks kit. And you start getting repeats because you get 20 of them in a box. It's a great value box. And you get 20 of them in there. So you do start getting repeats. And just to differentiate them and make sure they're all different, some of the ones with top knots, if I'm using the same head again, I'll snip the top knot off one of them. And if I've got two bald heads, I will add a top knot. I've done that to a couple of them as well. I love the spiked hand on this guy as well. I think that's a really savage looking weapon. These all count as choppers. Who else we got? We got this dude running headlong into battle with his knife. Slugger held aloft, nice and simple, but he looks cool. I really, really love these miniatures. I've got to say, I've had great fun doing this kit. Here's another dude, similar pose to the other one, roaring up at the sky. Again, very standard, other than the slugger hand. He possibly had a top knot. I see a little bit there. Yeah, looks like I removed a top knot from him as well. Possibly anyway. Or he just requires a little bit more cleanup. And now I'm looking at it, actually I can see a couple of mould lines on him that I need to remove. So they are virtually finished, but I've obviously still got a little bit more to do. This guy, he's got, again, the slugger, but I put the bike chain from the biker kit, the chain hand, because I just really liked it and I thought it was really cool. And I like the fact that he's got sort of just scavenged whatever and he's going to wrap a chain around someone's head. So I like that. I thought that was cool. Who else have we got? This dude running along with a stick bomb. He's having a whale of a time. Probably, being a Feral Ork, has no idea what that stick bomb's going to do to him once he gets into combat. But he's going to have a laugh doing it. So yeah. Who we got? Here's one of the few ones that I did change a head on. He has got a head from the old school fantasy orcs, which I absolutely love them. Guys, if you can get hold of some of them old fantasy orcs, they're fully interchangeable with all the old orc kits, which is really awesome. Now, swapping the heads on these is a bit of a ball ache. You've got to sort of carve away at the neck, because the way these other heads join, the neck join is very different. It's got quite a long, thick neck that actually goes right up inside the head. So to fit these heads on, you've got to sort of kind of carve the inside hole of his head out a bit, and then chop the neck right down and file it back so it fits on there. If you don't do that, you end up with like a really weird looking giraffe neck, which looks really, really odd. But yeah, I like that head. I think it fits perfectly. Being a fantasy orc, it fits the Savage Ork theme really, really well. We've got this guy charging into combat. A lot of these poses are running, which makes sense for him. This top knot, this guy's top knot, is actually from the underside of a Ork Boys slugger from the new Orks kit. Had a big thing and I thought, oh, that looks like a top knot. I'll have that. Stick that on. It looks really cool. I like the way that's come out. Very impressive top knot. Another replacement head from the boys kit, which is one of my favourite heads from that kit. I love it, with one eye missing, scarred. Looks really savage. He's got a Fantasy Orks chopper there, which I think fits quite well. Old school slugger. This dude, one again, fairly basic one, just had the slugger changed. And then what else have we got? Another dude there, charging in with the slugger. Then we've got a few more interesting ones here. This guy, he's got a head from a company called For Fun Minis, or For Fun Miniatures. Probably my favourite third-party parts manufacturer for Orks. A small company, only produces a few bits, but the bits they produce are incredible and of exceptional quality, as you can see by this beautifully crisp head. It's actually supposed to be a knob head, but it's one of the smaller ones of the knob heads that I've got from For Fun Minis. And because the heads of these Savage Orruks are quite big, even in comparison with your 40k Ork boys, because most of them are roaring and got their mouths wide open, so they've got really big heads, and they're a bit more sort of feral looking in their appearance with their fangs and teeth and stuff. So I think I could get away with putting a slightly larger head on this guy, but it fits in really well. I think he looks really mean. He's got a cool looking pose. So yeah, I thought that worked quite well. We got this dude, he's one of my favourites, with the grenade in the gob. Literally just a little bit of pressure, that grenade just popped in there and the teeth held it in place. So I don't know what's going on my camera, it's sort of flickering about a bit, the lighting seems to be throwing it, so hopefully that's not too distracting. I don't know whether that's just showing on the camera my end or whether that will come out in the editing, but yeah, you can see the guy anyway. Awesome pose. Yeah, he looks like he's going to have a whale of a time and also get a nasty surprise when his head explodes, but it'll be a laugh, won't it? What else have we got? This dude running along, he's had a top knot added because this was another head that I repeated, but the top knot added, I just put it flowing backwards to give it a nice sort of pose to match his running, so it's flapping in the wind there. And the shooter that he's got, which I'm using as a slugger, was a gift from our one and only Dreadwar Gaming. He sent me a load of bits years ago, which I've not done anything with, and one of the bits was this really old school 2nd edition shooter, and I thought, well, that's perfect. It's perfect time to use this. I just chopped off the sort of handle bit, and I think the hand holding it is from a slugger or a shooter or whatever, and just chopped and filed and combined that. But yeah, so I thought that was cool, and I quite like the fact that it looks like he's sort of scavenged a really old school shooter / slugger. I mean, he's using it like a slugger, so it'll count as a slugger. And then we got this dude, dual wielding sluggers. I really like that. I wanted to put one, didn't want them all just having like a slugger and a chopper. I wanted to mix it up, and look, WYSIWYG style, I use this guy, look, basically he's armed with a slugger, and when he gets into combat he's just going to pistol whip someone with it, and it will count as a chopper with the other one, because anything's a weapon in an orc's hand. And yeah, so I really just wanted one having fun dual wielding the sluggers. I've also added, I don't know if you can see there, a bit of scarring on him. I drilled out one of his eyes and then put a Stanley blade down and just carved down it to give him a nice bit of scarring. Just wanted to add a bit of scarring to a couple of them, and also it differentiated him from another head that I used the same on another one, and I think it's just made him look even meaner and cooler. But yeah, there you go. Now, that's almost all of them. I've shown you 18 of the 20 thus far, and I was originally planning to have them all armed with sluggers choppers and just keep it nice and simple, because generally when you're running slugger chopper boys, you don't want to throw in special weapons because it just sort of slows the unit down, and on the tabletop it's generally not a smart move. But I saw this guy, one of Headcracker's Mad Mob, and I just had to have him because I'm like, he's just fit perfectly. I saw the bow and arrow and I thought I could turn that into a rocket boy, and rather than firing him out of a rocket launcher, he fires explosives from his bow and arrow and takes out vehicles and whatnot, and I just thought that was really, really cool. So yeah, got this guy. All I had to do was chop off the arrowhead, replace it with a rocket, and then round the back just added another rocket under there that he can attach to his arrows, again using the dental floss trick. So yeah, I thought that was really, really cool. And then I was only going to have him because I thought, well, I'll just have him just as the one rocket boy. But the kit actually comes with loads of parts to make arrow boys or arrow boys. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to make another one and have two in the squad. So I made this dude. And he's one of my favourite ones in the unit, actually. I think he was the last one I made. Yeah, he was a bit of fun to make, actually, this dude. So he's got the Bad Moon hat, again, an old fantasy orc head. I absolutely love these. I've got a few of these heads sprinkled throughout my army. I've still got a couple more in my bits box. It's going to be sad times when I've used the last one of these because they're getting harder and harder to come by these days. There's still quite a few of them out there in the wild, but they're going to carry on getting rarer and rarer. But yeah, absolutely love them. And I think it fits perfectly. It's not. I tried to avoid anything too sort of modern, futuristic, and 40k. So even with when I was replacing the hands and things, I was very careful not to select any hands that had like fingerless gloves, because quite a lot of the orc hands come with like fingerless gloves. And I didn't want that. I wanted them to be really, really feral and tribe-like and basic, and just clothing-wise to just have straps and loincloths and stuff, and not have anything sort of modern on them at all, other than the sluggers, of course, and the rockets. But yeah, this guy, so the arrows that would be holding in his hand, again, I chopped the arrowheads off, and I had these two rockets that I sort of filed down to get them together and just managed to squeeze them in a way that they fit on the end of the arrows like that. And then down at the back, same thing, couple of loose arrows. He's got a couple of rockets strapped to him there, and I put the arrowheads glued on, and then they're sort of glued up to his back as well to give him a bit of stability. But yeah, there you go. So I've got two rocket arrow boys in the squad, and I think it's just cool. It's just a bit of fun, you know. It's rule of cool. I thought cool. They'll stand out in the unit once I've painted them up. But yeah, absolutely awesome. Love them. So yeah, there you go, guys. So that's how I got these guys done. So what was the thinking behind it? Well, this has been, of all the sort of kit bashes and conversions and things I've shown thus far, this was definitely one of the simplest ones. This is the sort of thing that anyone could have a go at. If you've never kit bashed before, you've never converted before, this is a nice sort of simple one project to do, because it's just chopping off a few hands, filing them down so that they're nice flush connection, and gluing them on, and boom, there you go. You've got a Feral Ork boy. And yeah, I mean, I could have done more with them. I was thinking about doing more of them at one point. What I was going to do was, you know, do more bits on them. I was going to add little trophies and bits. I was going to, you know, put on a few little bits of extra armor plating and things that they've scavenged. And I was just going to, you know, sort of really put in a little bit more effort and a little bit more work. But I also, as well as having fun making these guys, one of the big targets for me for this unit was to make them really easy to paint. And one of the best things about these boys is that they barely wear any clothes, so it's nearly all orc skin. Most of the painting is just going to be painting orc skin. And you know what it's like with 40k Orks. They've got loads of leather straps and pouches and loads of different little bits, gloves and all kinds of things, bullet casings and things hanging off them. There's a lot of detail. There is a lot of detail on orc boys, and it really slows down the painting. It's just more bits to pick out. And I really like the idea of just being able to get this unit painted up quickly. I mean, quickly for me, you know, and just making it as easy on myself as possible. So yes, I could have gone a bit further with the kit bashing, converting. I could have added more details and more extra gubbins and stuff, but then I would have hated myself for it when it came round to the painting side of things. With the painting, what I'm going to be doing with these guys is painting them in the same colour scheme as the rest of my guys, so they'll fit in. They're going to have the same skin tone, then obviously all the sort of straps and leather bits will all be browns and things. Probably going to give them black top knots, just because the black and yellow is the sort of Bad Moon colour scheme that I've gone with. And then yellow wise, just the odd wrist strap, a little details on the sluggers and that, just odd little touches of yellow here and there dotted amongst them, just to tie them in with the rest of the army. And then some of the sort of squig skin and stuff that they've got in that sort of pinky purple that the rest of my squigs are painted in. So they should tie in with the rest of my tribe really well, but also sort of stand out as quite unique and different from the rest of like my shooter boys and knobs and whatnot. So yeah, really looking forward to getting these gits painted. I think they're going to be quite striking on the table. Now I'm going to be using these as slugger chopper boys. Now you could use them as beast snagger boys. I think they would work quite well. I know Sid, the drunken orc, he's had some great success mixing this kit with the beast snagger boys to sort of mix it up a little and add some variety and uniqueness to his units, and it looks absolutely fantastic. If I remember, I'll throw a link to his video actually, so you can go and have a look. The conversions and stuff that guy does is incredibly impressive. Yeah, so I'll try and remember actually when I upload this video to pop a link up to that. If you like this sort of thing, go and check it out. You'll enjoy it. And throw him a sub and a like while you're there. But yeah, I'm really chuffed with these guys. Oh, basing. Did it in my usual style. For anyone that doesn't know, PVA glue and sand. Old school basing. I love it. It's works really well. Really easy, cheap, and don't buy modelling sand. Don't buy the little pots that they charge you a fortune for. Buy a big sack at like a hardware store or a gardening place, and you get tons of it. Or just walk down the beach and just pick up a handful, put it in your pocket and take it home. There you go, free sand. But yeah, got some stones and bits on there. But yeah, lore-wise, how am I fitting these in with the rest of my tribe into the Broken Tooth tribe? Well, for a while, what I was going to do was start adding some snake bites into my tribe. I've always liked snake bites. They're my second favourite clan after Bad Moons, and I thought that would be really cool. But yeah, look, I've stuck to Bad Moons all this way, and I kind of want to carry on sticking to Bad Moons. And I felt it was important as well, because a lot of people gravitate towards snake bites when it comes to Feral Orks, and you can see why, but quite often snake bites and Feral Orks get confused, or they confuse some of the player base. A snake bite and a Feral Ork are not necessarily the same thing, and actually quite often they are not the same thing. They are definitely two different things. Snake bite is a clan, and Feral Orks is a sort of I don't want to say like a subspecies. It's like an evolutionary step with orcs. So like how would they come about? So for example, if orcs have invaded a planet during a war, they've invaded a planet and attacked the planet, and maybe they've been repelled and then sent packing or destroyed, or maybe they did take over the planet but then got bored afterwards and then moved on and started launching their conquests elsewhere and left the planet to find new wars and new battles. Once an orc's been on a planet, and once there's been an orc invasion, they've left all their spores behind. Them spores then grow and take root, and then squigs start appearing, and snotlings start appearing, and grots start appearing, and then eventually orcs will start appearing. And usually those orcs will be of a feral nature, and they'll be quite sort of primitive and backwards, and they'll be like normal sort of flint technology and clubs and things like that, and and so that eventually then they'll move on to start making arrows and things, and and be incredibly tribal and very savage. And by orc standards, quite primitive, if you can believe it. So yeah, believe it or not, your regular Ork boy is quite civilized compared to these gits. But yeah, so this is in my tribe, in the Broken Tooth tribe. I'm sort of going to work it in the lore that, you know, they've returned to a planet that they were repelled from years back, and Gashnak Goldtooth, he's like, no, it's time to go back, because this time we're bigger, we're harder, we're gonna show them who's boss this time. They sent us packing last time, now it's time for revenge. We're gonna come back and have a proper fight. And when they return there, they then find that the planet is infested with Feral Orks, and that have been sort of harassing like the Imperial troops there for quite a while and being a bit of a nuisance and a pain. And then yeah, they end up joining the war. Once they see all the shooters and the explosions and the flash gear of the Bad Moons, they're like, oh, we want a piece of that. We want a piece of that. So yeah, they basically agree to join the war in exchange for getting given a load of gear. But the Bad Moons ain't going to give them, the Broken Tooth tribe ain't going to give them all the best gear. So they sling them all the old crap sluggers and the cast-off bits. And these gits are quite happy with that. So yeah, they managed to scavenge a little bit, the odd few rockets here and there, the odd few sluggers. And yeah, they're basically going to be used by the rest of the tribe as like meat shields, as chaff. You know, they send in the Feral Orks first to sort of take in the first wave. They keep the enemy busy while the rest of the Bad Moons can carry on shooting with their nice shiny shooters. So yeah, that's the idea behind it. Like I said, I think a lot of people get Feral Orks and Snakebites mixed up, and also Beast Snaggers as well, because they're sort of similar in some respects, but also very different. Beast Snaggers kind of embrace technology and bionics. You know, there's a lot of replacement parts on Beast Snaggers, whereas I would think Snakebites would sort of shun that technology, because the old ways are the best. And then Feral Orks are just something completely different entirely. But you could be, I guess, you probably could be a Feral Beast Snagger Snakebite. I think that's possible. But yeah, Feral Orks could be from any tribe, so you can definitely have Feral Bad Moons. These will just be Feral Orks that grow a lot of teeth. And yeah, probably have paid too many teeth for these old cast-off sluggers and bits of old knackered up old weaponry and things. But yeah, it's going to be quality to use these guys in my tribe. I've been desperate to add more infantry to my army. I've got lots of cans and death dreads and things and some of the bigger stuff, and I've got lots of characters as well, but I have very few actual boys painted up. I've got loads and loads of boys, but the thought of painting more of them, it terrifies me. I'm just so slow at painting, and I remember the last lot, it took me ages and ages to paint them. But I think these guys will be a lot quicker to paint, and it will add some much needed numbers to my army. And with 10th edition, I think if you're not putting characters in units, you're not getting the most bang for your buck out of those characters. Because the way they work in 10th now, you join them with the units and you gain the buffs. If they're not in a unit, you're losing half of what you're paying for. So I really do need more infantry units to be able to use my characters. So yeah, there you go. I'm hoping to get these guys on the painting table very soon. I just wanted to show them to you first before I start painting them. I always like to do these showcases of like kit bashes or conversions that I've done, show them to you in their like raw form before I start painting them. But yeah, they're all done now. I'm going to get them sprayed up. I just need to check a couple of them, because I think I've still, once I've been showing to you on this video, I've noticed the odd mould line that has escaped me in the building process. So I might just check, give them one more check over, clean up any last bits of mould lines, and then get them sprayed up and get them on the painting desk and add them to my tribe. And hopefully you'll see that showcase video of them painted soon and start seeing them in future battle reports. But yeah, let me know what you think, guys. I'd really recommend getting yourself an Age of Sigmar Savage Orruks set. There's loads of bits in there. You get 20 of these gits in there. I've got quite a few leftover bits and bodies and things which I've got in mind for other projects. One of them being a runt herd. I think the body of one of these gits would be a really cool base to build a unique looking runt herd to lead the grots. And yeah, there's bits in there you can use for weird boys and just all kinds of stuff. Loads of good gubbins and bits in there. And some really cool looking heads. And you can use it the other way as well. I've used some of these heads in the past on like my tank busters and stuff, and they work really well actually when you put them on like 40k Ork bodies. And yeah, like Sid did with his, I think these bits will mix really well with Beast Snagger boys as well. So yeah, there you go guys. But yeah, please let me know what you think in the comment section down below. I'd love to get your feedback on them, if you like them, or if you don't like them, just let me know why. But yeah guys, thank you very much. Please give this video a thumbs up, go and check out Sid's video, and I will see you on the next one guys. This is 6+ Stevo signing out.